I thought I'd make this tutorial for those of you who are new to version 12 and maybe are still using your desktop in a version 11 style, whereas version 12, because of the floating windows, allows you to work so much more efficiently. So I thought I'd give this quick tutorial about how I use it in my operatory for maximum efficiency. So the first thing I do is when TDO comes up, I place the main page in the upper left-hand corner uh, of the screen. I'm using a 4K monitor here with the fonts set at 125%. So this is the advantage of having a 4K monitor in your operatory. The second thing I do is I bring up the acquire form and I position it. TDO remembers where you last positioned your forms, which is a very nice feature. So I don't have to continually be moving forms around. It will remember that I like the acquire form right here. So I'll place the acquire form here and I'll leave a little blank space over to the right here for reasons which you'll come to understand. If I'm doing a lot of a case where there's maybe a lecture or library material, I'll have both the lecture and library format up so I can save them into lectures and library if I want contemporaneously while I'm doing the case. We're not going to be doing that here, so I'll close these just to make it a little simpler. And then I'll bring up the image organizer. And again, it remembers where I last placed the image organizer, and I like the pane view with the size at 150 by 150. So what this does is any image that you have selected in the image organizer, and it brings it up into a larger thumbnail right here. So you're able to go through, you can scroll through your images if you want and bring them up in the pane view very, very easily. So for example, let's place a couple of images in the acquire form. That's the other nice thing about version 12 is that you're able to have many, many images on the acquire form at once. I'll just do 2 for now. So there's our 2 images on the acquire form. You can have 20 on the acquire form if you want. Then I want to have my draw page up and have access to it at all times. So to bring up the draw frame, all you do is double click on any image. The draw frame comes up like this, and that's why I position it right here over to the right. So you'll always be able to have access to it. You'll notice in version 12, all you do is click on a form and it comes to the front. So now I click on the draw form, it comes to the front. If you double click over here, you can go back. Your image organizer is already open. You can go back and forth from images. Then the last thing I'll bring up is my calendar. Sometimes I'll actually do appointments out of my operatory. So I bring up the calendar, that comes here, and all I do is position it right in this black space to the right. Now the calendar is up, but it's hidden behind everything else. Maybe I'll bring it over here a little bit more. So what have I got up? I have my main page up, and I'll typically have the treatment or diagnosis page up. I have my image organizer up. I have my draw up, and I have my acquire form up, all on the same page. So the value of version 12 is if you double click on any page, it comes up full screen. For example, if I want the acquire frame full screen, I just double click on it. It comes full screen. I can bring up any one picture. I go back to view. It brings up both pictures. I double click on that. Go back to view. Go back to the top. Double click. Go back to view, and now it's just as it was. If I want to do some drawing, I come over here where I can still see the draw page. I double click it. It comes full screen for me. I have all of my tools, all of my measuring here. I double click, it goes back to where it was. I bring up the acquire form and that hides it. Same with the image organizer. I double click on the image organizer. It comes up full screen. Double click on it again and it goes back to where it was. If I want to see my appointment calendar, I click on it. It's right there. I don't even need to double click on it. If I want to make it full screen, I bring it up that way. Double click, it goes back to where it was. So I hope this gives you a better sense of how to use your screen, especially with a 4K monitor, because it becomes, you can work so much more efficiently. You can have all these forms up, and the floating windows concept and the double clicking allows you to bring these up full screen anytime you want.